Today I'm going to talk about a mullein plant. So what you are seeing right now is the mullein plant. Some people call it Aaron's rod or Aaron's staff, and it has many other names. This is the middle of September right now, so the plant is pretty much done. Since it's growing in the shade at the side of the shed, this is the only one I have found that is still green. Anyhow, so I just wanted to show this to you. Okay, so a mullein plant, it is a biennial plant. It grows like from the time the seed sprouts in the ground to the time it looks like this and it dies completely, it takes 2 years. So during the first year, it's only the leaves that form. And the leaves form, which they're not here now because this is the second year plant. But the first year, these leaves, they just grow in a circle on the ground. Okay? And those first year leaves, is the most effective for medicinal purposes. Okay? The second year, it sends up this rod. Okay? And hang on, gotta get the kitten off of me. Alright, so this rod can get 5 to 6 feet tall. It has even been known to get up to 10 feet tall. That will have yellow flowers, and you can see these brown ones, they have already bloomed, they are done. These green ones here, they have not opened up yet, and I don't think that they will. I think they're just done. I don't know if you can see that or not, that touch of yellow on this one that is done just now, right there on my thumb. But anyhow, so the top will just have yellow flowers, and they'll just kind of bloom from the bottom to the top, just kind of here and there randomly all through the summer. Okay, the leaves are, which since this plant is almost done for the season, this is not a very good one to show you, but the leaves are very velvety, soft. They are very similar to lamb's ear, although not near as soft and thick as lamb's ear, but very similar to it, just on a smaller scale. I don't know if you can see kind of fuzz or not, how good that's showing up on the camera. Okay, so that is the mullein plant. And now I will, oh, one more thing before I tell you what it's good for. These plants, they thrive and grow very well on poor soil. That's why you'll see them, stop it. Sorry guys, this kitten is very playful and he keeps trying to get my toes. Thrive on poor soil and on neglect. So you will see them on roadsides and ditches. Oh, right now, this time of the year, as I'm seeing them on roadsides and ditches, they are just brown. It's like just tall brown rods sticking out of the ground. Okay, so now I will tell you what they are good for. We, in our family, have used the leaves for bronchitis, allergies, sinus cold, sinus infection, things like that. The thing that we most often use them for is just allergies. Okay. All parts of the plant are usable. The flowers, the leaves, and the root. They can all be used fresh or dried. Some people use the leaves and roll them up and smoke them to help help with like lung diseases. They have been used for so long, like centuries and stuff. Okay, if you do go to harvest them, like I said in the beginning of the video, the first year leaves are the most effective, okay? Which, I mean, I'm going to go ahead and take these leaves because I am running low on mullein in the house. So I'm going to go ahead and take these leaves, and I'm going to take all of them that are good because since this is the second year plant, it is not coming back next year. So it's done. But the first year leaves, when it's just on the ground, those are the most effective. And if you harvest those, as with any plant, you do not want to take any more than 1/3 of the plant. Because if you take more than 1/3, then you increase the risk of it not being able to recuperate and come back and continue to grow. Okay, so the mullein plant can be used for internal or external problems. Alright, like I said, we use them mainly for allergies, but we have also used it for bronchitis and sinus infection and colds and such. But for internal usage, yes, I know. They can be used for allergies, hay fever, asthma, bronchitis, emphysema, bruises, constipation, cough, diarrhea, hemorrhage, hemorrhoids, insomnia, nervous distress, nicotine withdrawal, sinus congestion, swollen glands, tumors, and a whooping cough. And then for external usage, you can use them as a fomentation or a poultice on problems such as like boils or sores or abscesses, burns and rashes, conjunctivitis, and other eye irritations, ear infection, earache, swollen glands, toothache, tumors, and then wounds. Some soldiers during the Civil War, when they had wounds out there on the field, they would actually take these mullein leaves and use them like as a poultice, and pack their wound. Okay, let's see. So the way that I use them, like I told you for allergies and such, I take the leaves and I dry them and then crush them up. And then I take about a tablespoon. You'll just have to, ouch, this kitten is needing attention. Anyway, ow, stop it. I am so sorry about this. Okay, but you'll need to do your own research, to see if by chance you would be allergic to this plant or any member of its family. I know what works for us, so what I normally do is I take these, I wipe them off, and I dry them off, and I crush them up, and I take about a tablespoon of the crushed leaves into 1 cup of boiling water, and I let it steep for about 15 minutes, and then I sweeten it with honey. But one thing you need to know, this is very, very important. We make the leaves out of a tea. That's how we use it. But what's very important is that after you make the tea, whenever you go to strain it, to get the leaves out, you just want the liquid, use a coffee filter, because these have very fine hairs on them. You see back there? They have very fine hairs on them, and you do not want to drink those little hairs because they will irritate your throat and your lungs. Anyway, you want to make sure that you filter out all those little hairs. Okay, so you may have to double strain it. We use one coffee filter, and it strains it out just fine. But you just want to be sure that you do get all those hairs filtered out. Okay, so this is the mullein plant. I think I have said everything I wanted to say. I'm going to go ahead and just take these leaves. I'm having to do this one-handed because I have the camera in the other hand. But I'm just going to go ahead and take these leaves and dry them. And then I will have some put back for this winter, with allergies and colds that are sure to come up. So leaves, and I came inside, and this is the same day, and I came inside, and I just ran my finger from the top to the bottom on front and back, all over, and, just rubbed them down really good with my fingers, and I kind of made some holes. But I done that in order to get off, to check for, insects, insect eggs, dust, just things that didn't belong there. So I done that. And then I also picked off the pieces that were bad. This one here has a little bit of brown on it where it was, I don't really want that. And then some pieces had like little insect bites taken out of it. So I also picked those off. So there are different ways you can dry these. You can dry these outside in the shade. You can do it inside on the counter like I'm going to do. I've done this before. Or you could dry them in an oven. If you do an oven though, you want a very low heat, like about 100 degrees. Just kind of want to do it slowly. So I'm going to dry it on the counter. This is going to take several days. Um, I have them on a stainless steel baker's rack just so air can kind of get under them and in between them and circulate around them. You want to make sure that you don't allow any moisture to get on them, you know, because of mold and growing and things like that. So, I have done this different ways in the past. I have left them completely uncovered like this, and it's worked out just fine. Or I have also covered them with paper towels, just like one layer of paper towels, and check them each day. And they will be dry once they are kind of crispy to where you can, you know, do this and it just kind of crumbles in your hand. Then that's when they're dry and they're ready to store and ready to use. So they're bright green right now. When they're done, they'll be like a darker green, very dark. Also, you could take a cheesecloth and cover them with a cheesecloth as well. I haven't quite decided if I'm going to leave them out in the open or cover them with a paper towel. I don't really like the cheesecloth, well, particularly this one anyhow, because it kind of grabs them whenever you go to take it off. They all, you know, kind of fall off. You got to rearrange them. So, I don't know what I'm going to do exactly with that. But if you do use the flowers and you want to dry the flowers, it's very important on the flowers, you know, the yellow flowers, if the flowers turn brown with moisture, then they become ineffective. Okay, so if you do, I've never used the flowers, I've only just used the leaves. So if you do use the flowers, you want to make sure that they don't absolutely at all have any moisture on them, because then the flowers will be ineffective. So that is it for now. I will show you what they look like in a few days whenever they are dry, and then I will show you how I make the tea. So it has been 2 days that the mullein leaves have been drying, and you can see that they are starting to shrivel up and curl up and get smaller. Let's see if you can hear it. Did you hear that kind of crush? The tips of them and the ridges, they are getting, you know, done, but the center, and like even outside here, this is almost done, but the center is still a little bit, it's not quite ready yet. It's still a little bit soft. So I just kind of wanted to show you how they're looking 2 days into the process. Hello. So if you are still watching this video, then the video you have seen up until now was the video I done where I showed you about mullein, and that video was done back in September. Well, today is the very end of December, so I thought I would go ahead and show you how I'm going to be using those mullein leaves that I dried and picked off of that plant to make some mullein tea. My girls have allergies right now, so I thought as I was getting ready to make this, I thought, hey, I never done that video, so I will go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so I showed you everything so far. All right, so with the mullein tea, I'm going to go ahead and have some as well. I woke up and my sinuses were draining a little bit, so I make the mullein tea fresh as we need it. I don't make a bunch then store it in the fridge. I make it as we need it. So, you know, that's what I do there. So since the three of us are going to have some mullein tea today, I have already got water in my pot. I put 3 cups of water in here for the 3 of us. And I also put an extra 1/4 cup in here just for, you know, evaporation and steam for that. Okay, so whenever I dried the leaves, I tried to leave them as whole as possible, because if I was to crush them up right away, whenever things are crushed and smaller, they lose, you know, their essential oils, their, you know, nutrients and vitamins. They dry out even faster. So if you leave them whole, you know, all the stuff will be retained more than what it would if it was crushed. Okay. So I try to leave them whole until I go to crush them for this. So I like to, what we do, well, okay, I guess my tablespoons are dirty, so I'm going to use this big tablespoon type thing. All right, so what we do is we do about a tablespoon of crushed mullein leaves per cup of water, and then we sweeten it with honey. If you're taking this as a daily herbal supplement, on this bag of mullein leaves I actually bought, because at our last house my husband had bush hogged all the mullein leaves down, and so, or all the mullein plants down, so we didn't have any and we needed some, so I actually had to buy some. And I showed these in a different video on my other channel. But this is from Oregon's Wild Harvest, and this is certified organic mullein leaf. But on here, on the directions, it says, as an herbal supplement, take 1 teaspoon a day. Well, we're not using this as a daily supplement. We're using it because it's needed for allergies. So for us, we do 1 tablespoon of crushed leaves per cup of water. All right, so I'm just going to take these and just crush them. And just measure me out. I'm not going to crush them real fine, just, you know, crinkle them. And that's about a tablespoon. So I need 3 of that. I'm just going to call that another tablespoon. Now, if you have allergies already, don't think that you could just have 1 cup of this and your allergies will be cured. That's not how it's going to happen. You know, if you're already sick, you need to, if this is what you want to do, then, you know, just have a couple, 2 or 3 cups of this every day until they go away. That's what we do, and we've always had success with it. So here's another tablespoon. And a lot of times I kind of go with just how it looks as well. And even though that's about 3 tablespoons, I'm going to add in a couple more leaves. All right. Then I'm just going to add in these little pieces that fell to the side. Okay. All right. I'm just going to kind of pat it down, try to get it under the water. And with mullein leaves, that's something that it's kind of hard to do. It doesn't really want to go under the water. It kind of wants to stay and float. So you just kind of have to work at it a little bit. It's probably not necessary to try to get it under the water. I just feel like more of the good stuff will come out of it if I do that. Okay, but I would like to go ahead and show you what these that I bought does look like. Okay, let's see if I can do this. This is difficult. All right, so see, this is crushed up pretty fine that I had bought compared to what I just crushed up. Okay. Okay. Now, whenever you go to make a tea out of plants, out of natural plants, there's 2 kinds. There's an infusion and a decoction. And infusion is where you boil the water first, okay? So you have your flowers or your leaves crushed up in a waiting cup or, you know, tea ball thing, like, you know, something like this, or I have more down there. So you have your flowers or your leaves in a waiting thing, and your water is boiling, and then you would pour the boiling water over the leaves or the flowers, and then let it sit for 15 minutes and sweeten it and drink it. That's an infusion. A decoction is where you take the water and then you take the root or the stem or the bark or, you know, the more woody, tough parts of the plant, and you put that into the water and you bring it all to a boil. And you bring it to a boil and then you let it sit, you know, for 10 or 15, 20 minutes or 30, depending on what kind of plant it is. And that's the decoction. But even though this is the leaves, and I'm supposed to do it by an infusion, this is just how I do it for the mullein. I just put the cold water in here, I put the leaves in there, and then I bring it to just a very slight boil, like as soon as it's not really even boiling, just as soon as you can tell it starts to get hot and the little bubbles start to come up. That's the heat I bring it to, and then I turn the heat off and, you know, cover it, of course, and I just let it sit for about 15 or 20 minutes, and then we strain it and sweeten it and drink it. So I'm going to go put this on the stove now. Okay, so it's over here on the stove, and I've got the stove heating up. So this is what it looks like for right now. And whenever it gets done, or maybe when it starts to boil just slightly to where, you know, the bubbles start coming up, if I think about it, I will show it to you. And if not, I will still show you what it looks like when it's done and ready to drink. So while the mullein tea is, you know, we're cooking over there on the stove, I thought I would show you this book. If you are interested in natural remedies and treating yourself at home, I highly recommend this book, Practical Herbalism by Dr. Philip Fritchie. No, this is not sponsored video by no means. I bought this book almost 6 years ago. I've had this book for that long now. And I believe I've done a review over it on my other channel. I'll see if I did, and if I did, I will try to put a card up in this video. But you should check this book out. This book can be very expensive. I bought it on Amazon almost 6 years ago, and I think it's not super duper thick, but I think currently it's like $80-something for this book. However, I had wanted it for nearly a year, and I just kept waiting and waiting and waiting, hoping that the price would go down, and the cheapest I ever saw it was like $40-something, and I went ahead and bought it. And if I had known then what I know now, and I could not have got it for $40, I would have gladly got this for $80. This has saved us thousands of dollars by not going to the doctor and paying for medicine or co-pays or, you know, anything like that. This is a very good investment. I highly recommend it. Okay, but I do believe I've done a video on this. Some other things that we do is, now I know I've done this in another video also, and I'm not going to go over everything that we do naturally, by no means. My focus right now is just allergies, just quick little tidbit of information here. The traditional medicinal organic echinacea plus, the plus, it has elderberry in it. This is really good if you have like a sinus infection, you know, or sick. This is good. I also have, which I am pretty much out of, echinacea root, the actual plant, the root. Okay, that's over there, ready. Okay, so I just turned this off and I moved it over here, or I moved it off of the heat. Okay, I'm going to put the lid on it. I'm going to let it sit for about probably 20 minutes. So I just kind of wanted to show you what that looked like. Trying to focus in on it. Alright, so I'm just going to put the lid on it. Alright, and I will set the timer for about 20 minutes. And then we will strain it and sweeten it and drink it. Now I'll go back to what I was saying over there. Okay, so I just showed you the tea. Okay, so like I was saying, this is the actual echinacea root that has been dried, cut, and sifted. So we'll also make this into a tea just like I showed you for the mullein. So that's something else that you can use. And, oh, I know what you can buy this just echinacea, or you can buy echinacea with elderberry. We have tried both, and with elderberry, it is, in our opinion, for our bodies, with elderberry, it is much, much more effective than the echinacea alone. These are something else that my kids take. If my kids just have allergies, you know, and I don't feel like messing with the Mullein tea, then I will just give them some of this elderberry immune defense. We have went through so many of these bottles. Actually, it looks like that one's about empty. Got another one over there though. Anyhow, this is good for allergies and immunity. Whenever it is flu season, or we know a lot of people are sick, or we're going to be out in public a lot, even if my girls don't have allergies or are not sick, I will go ahead and give them this before we head out. And, you know, God's medicine, God's natural medicine that He created, the plants, are just so powerful and much, in my opinion, much more effective. And this is premium echinacea. This is by Oregon's Wild Harvest. This is good too. I wanted to go ahead and show this real quick, give this a shout out. This is Lobelia Essence. I don't know why it's not focusing. Anyhow, this is by Nature's Sunshine, and this is what we have used in the past for bronchitis. This is just such a little miracle. I mean, when my kids have had bronchitis, you know, I give this to them, and like the first dose they get or the second dose, they are literally coughing up that mucus and that congestion. You can physically hear it breaking up, and this is just awesome. Now, we have tried Dr. Christopher's Lobelia, and it falls on its face. In my opinion, it's just like, it's no better than water. The only difference I know of is that this one is actually made with alcohol, and Dr. Christopher's is made with apple cider vinegar. Now, I'm a fan of apple cider vinegar, but his Lobelia did not work at all for us, nothing. And then you can also use a diffuser, and for allergies or nasal, you know, irritation, you can diffuse peppermint essential oil, lavender essential oil, and lemon essential oil. My girls will do that. They'll put in about 4 or 5 drops of each. I am actually out of lemon oil right now. But they'll put in about 4 or 5 drops of each into their diffuser and turn it on at nighttime. I would love to say that it's awesome, but it smells good, but honestly, I can't really tell a difference in them. I'm just being honest. But we do it anyway. We buy it anyway. So, my husband, he likes taking this, it's organic wild bear's garlic from Arizona Naturals. Now, this garlic is different. Most garlic that you find in all the stores is made from the bulb, the garlic bulb. Well, these is actually made from the leaves, and it's a different type of garlic, and it has to be hand harvested. This stuff is really good. The best brand, in our opinion, is from AIM Products, and it is called Bear Paw Garlic. That stuff is, for us, okay, everyone's different, but for us, that is like an immediate success right there. With the Bear Paw Garlic by AIM Products, my husband, he can take 2 or 3 of the garlic pills one time, and, you know, he's cured. I mean, whatever he took them for, whether they're allergies or sinus congestion or anything like that, it goes away. However, it is very expensive. It's like $30-something for 90 pills. Well, we found this, I don't know, several years ago. This is also 90 pills. It's the same amount, but it's only like, it ranges in price between $8 and $13 a bottle. So it's much, much cheaper. It's not as effective. It's not, I'm not going to lie. But, I mean, it's not as effective like, you know, like 1 dose of AIM products equals 1 dose of this. No. This you do have to take more of, so you may be thinking, well, it might be worth getting it more expensive. And maybe it is. I don't know. We haven't done that kind of math because we don't take it every single day. But this is effective. It's just not as fast working as the AIM products. So, all right, I think that's it for right now. I'll show you what that tea looks like after it's set, and I'll show you how I strain it. You may be wondering how long we have been doing the Mullein tea. We've actually been doing it almost 5 years. So, this is not just a one-time deal. This is a every year, a few times a year deal. We have success with it. Each person's different. Their immune system's different, how their body reacts to, medicines, whether natural or man-made. It's all different. So you just have to find what works for you and do your own research. That's how I have learned the things that I know. So I guess that's it for now. Okay, so the Mullein tea has set for 20 minutes, so I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, you can see it's dark. See that pretty good? Okay, all right, so like I said, that's done, it's ready to drink. So I'm going to take our 3 glasses here, mine and my kids', and I'm going to squeeze in some honey at the bottom of each glass. Then I'm going to take the filter, we use unbleached coffee filters, push it down there, and then I will use the filter to strain this. Okay, so we do have these tea ball things, and ones like this, and then I have other tea things. I do not use these for the Mullein. The coffee filters work the best because these holes are fairly big, and even though these holes are much smaller, they are still big enough to where those leaves, not the leaves, the little hairs on the leaves, where they will still go through that. So I highly recommend the coffee filter to make sure that you strain out all those hairs, because they will irritate your throat, like I said earlier. Okay, so I'm just going to squeeze some honey in here in the bottom. And I just kind of, figure a couple teaspoons or tablespoons. Okay, you can always add more honey later, of course. All right, and then I just take the coffee filter, kind of put it in the top of the glass like this, and pinch it over the sides, like that. Then I just try to kind of estimate about a cup in each glass. I just do a little bit, in each glass and try to get it evenly. And I just move this coffee filter onto each glass. But you could use a new coffee filter for every glass. And like if we actually had a sinus infection, to where we were actually sick, then I would use a new coffee filter, for germs and such. Okay, so as this coffee filter, soaks up water and starts to get wet, it'll actually do a very good job about staying on the rim by itself to where you won't have to hold it on while you're pouring. Just wanted to let you know that. And second, because of the little hairs on the Mullein leaves, because of that, I find that if you just keep like a slow, steady pour, that it'll, go ahead and keep dripping down, it'll keep filtering. But if you pause too long, then those hairs, you know, they have time to settle on the coffee filter, and once enough of them gets settles on there, then it won't let the tea filter through anymore because the hairs are kind of, you know, matted down and clogging it up. So if you do, which I'm done now, I don't really have anything, much tea left in here. But if you do, just keep a steady, light, you know, liquid running through, then the hairs won't have time to settle. So that's just a little tip because I had to learn the hard way. I was like, why does it keep clogging up? Okay. Another thing, all right, that's all I've got. Another thing, let me show you. Can you see what it looks like now that they're used up? Let me see. I don't know if you can see that or not. Anyhow, what I like to do is I like to go ahead and take this out. Once the tea strains through, I like to take out most of these mullein leaves. You may not be able to fit all of them, but I like to take out some of them, as much as I can easily, and put on that coffee filter, and then fold it up, and very, very gently, just lightly squeeze any excess out of those leaves that I can. But you want to be very, very careful not to tear the coffee filter, because if you do, those leaves are going to get in there, and then you'll need to refilter it all. So, and I have done that before. So on this step, if you choose to do this, you could go ahead and get another coffee filter and wrap under this before you start squeezing. But you just want to be very careful not to tear it. Okay. All right, so I have the glasses with the mullein tea and the honey already. Just going to stir that honey in there. All right, and these are ready to drink. Now, like I had said a while ago, if you actually are sick, you know, you actually have an infection, then you want to make sure, you know, glasses you are using, you have already been using that day. Then you want to, you know, use a fresh coffee filter for each one, a fresh spoon for each one, because you don't want to transfer any extra bacteria or virus or whatever kind of sickness you have, okay? But we are not contagious, we are not sick, just have a little sinus drainage. So, thank you for watching.